So things are looking pretty good. It's actually amazing how clean this thing is underneath for essentially a daily driver. And just for an S chassis, an S13, an 89 in general. So I got an R200 with a viscous LSD in here. That's kind of fresh, kind of refresh on it. Motul fluid, moly coated rear cover. I got the big axle. Actually, no, those are standard S13 axles. I take that back. But they're 5-bolt. I thought those were the big axles, actually. I think they might be, actually. So, aluminum drive shaft. I got ECUTalk rear knuckles. Poly bushings in the lower control arms. Everything else is spherical, voodoo upper camber arms. We got a little reinforcement in the subframe. I haven't had any cracking or anything with it, so I haven't had the need to really, other than that spot, I haven't had the need to reinforce anything else so far. It's a street car after all. HKS exhaust, which is amazing. I love this fitment right there. It's nice and tight against the diff. The frame rails on this thing are, for an S chassis, an S13, that's freaking remarkable. I mean, remarkably clean frame rails. I got a cat delete, which I don't know about an O2 sensor on that, but I don't know what I'm gonna do with that thing yet. I'm gonna clean the sensor on the wideband or the narrowband gauge, the AEM gauge sensor, so I can get an accurate reading on that. Got a tiny little drop leak in the rear here, rear output shaft seal. I think that's just because there's no carrier bearing at all on this drive shaft, and it's also designed to also accommodate ABS style. Yeah, pretty stoked that everything looks real good under here. Fresh power steering rack, no leaks. It's so nice. I need to get a new one of these guys. Actually, I got it. I just got to install it. So she's been sitting here for a month and a half. I found a mouse in the back, but took care of that already. Battery was pretty low. Charged it up, and now I'm gonna hit our jump starter, 20 amp, during my cranking to get oil pressure. So I go ahead and crank it with no fuel. Oh, she wants to go. She wants to go on fumes. Actually, if it's going, maybe that's a leaky injector. If it's still, yeah, who knows? Because I got no fuel on, so it shouldn't even be trying to start. Yeah, that's not particularly a great sign. So now I'm gonna turn the fuel on, and it does that with the 40 weight, and just till it warms up. I almost have a feeling it's like oil related, oil pressure. Maybe I'm doing a lot of oil. A lot of oil being pushed through the system. Maybe it's making it, see, it smooths out right away. Just strange. And then the boost gauge needs some attention. Something's going on with that. Here's the 240. I'm going to do a little update video here just to kind of wrap up the last couple of years and bring this kind of some conclusion to this era. This car, I 2 years ago roughly, I rebuilt the motor because I had some issues with it running real rich and just running weird, and I was just kind of concerned. It'd never been opened at that point, stock bottom end, and it had well over 100,000 miles on it. So I figured, all right, well, I guess it's time for a rebuild, and I did, and it ended up turning out to be the MAF sensor that was the problem the whole time. Because like right after I rebuilt it, I started up, same problem, running really rich, and just replaced the MAF sensor with one out of the junkyard, and it fixed the problem. So still running that same MAF right now. It's just actually a 300ZX I got out of the junkyard on Black Friday deal, so I got that for like 25 bucks or something. But so it's been running pretty good for the last couple years, and I've done some minor upgrades here and there. You know, I got a nice harmonic balancer on it now. You know, I put a catch can on it, which is funny because maybe I have it routed wrong, but I mean, it comes out of the top of the motor into the catch can, and I got vacuum back into the intake pipe coming out of the other side. It's just a 2-port deal, and there's no oil in that ever, like zero, barely fumes go through there. I think everything goes through the factory oil separator, or it must, or I have very, very minimal blow by. I don't know how that's working, but it could be part of my problems because recently actually very recently, up until 2 years, it's been driving fine for 2 years, but recently I've gone on a couple spirited drives and actually ran the car up in the RPMs a little further than before, and I'm getting some oil. It's hard to see, but on the bottom of the pan there, maybe you can see it, but I got oil coming out of what seems like the front main seal. I got oil coming out of that, mainly under, higher boost levels, and just running it hard in general. If I just drive it like nice and easy and normal, there's no problems. I never have any. I haven't had that before, so I'm not sure what the problem is. We did do a slight mod to the oil pump where we increased the pressure of it by adding washers inside of it. So the orifice on the output side of the oil pump is smaller, which then increases the pressure. But the volume might be a little less. Not sure, but I mean, it has. I don't know. I don't really have a gauge on it. The gauge I have on there is just more or less letting me know there is some oil pressure. I don't think it's very accurate. It says up to 80 pounds when I first cold start it, and then pretty quickly it drops down to like a normal like 40 pounds, and then under that, it drops down pretty good. So actually, when it's fully warmed up, it barely registers any oil pressure, which is a little concerning. But I think that's also not that unusual. Like to only have 12 pounds of pressure when it's idling. So I don't think it's unusual there or anything unusual there. But anyways, I'm wondering if because of that mod, I'm getting extra pressure building up somewhere, or within the oil pump, or somewhere where it's pressing out, it's coming out of the front main seal, because it's a brand new seal. I resealed the entire motor. Everything is new as far as seals. So I'm not sure what the problem is, but that's kind of where I'm at with this car. It's everything else seems to be good. It's finally due for some new brakes. It's been, I don't know, over 5 years since I put these Z brakes on it, all around, but the rotors are finally starting to show some pretty good wear. And these are actually the only set of pads I've went through. They're Hawk HPS pads, and they still have quite a bit of life actually, but I mean, I've had them for so long. And I'm starting to get a little bit more vibration through the steering wheel now. So, but otherwise, things running pretty good. Still have battery issues because I don't believe the regulator in the OEM alternator is set up for AGM voltages. So it doesn't really charge my AGM battery like as high of a voltage range as it should. My friend rebuilt this alternator to be a 100 amp alternator, but so it's putting out, it has enough power. It's just that doesn't seem to be, the voltage doesn't get high enough to adequately charge the AGM battery. With that said, I think that's kind of brings me up to speed with this car. It still runs good. I think the turbo's a little worn out. It's an S15 ball bearing, but it's been through a lot. So I think it needs probably a replacement soon. I'd like to get just a regular S15 turbo again, but a new one. I'm sure there's better options on the market now, but it seems like unnecessary because I'm really at my power levels where I wanted to be, which is right around 300. So S15 turbo is just perfect for that. So yeah, that's kind of where we're at. You guys have a good one. Got some other videos coming up here, hopefully with this car, including a road trip from Washington to Nevada. And that'll be fun. I'm going down the coast. So we'll see how this car performs on a road trip. So we'll see you at that one. Peace. All right, so another cool thing I did recently was add a computer into the car, just for actually added gauges, just monitoring the ECU parameters and stuff. I kind of did this a little bit when I was trying to figure out what the problem was. That's how I figured out the map sensor was the issue with the car 2 years ago. But during that time, I came across some cool software, and one of which is a really cool little app called ECUTalk. It works with the Nissan OBD1 stuff, and with these SRs, you know, that's what it is. So you get PLMS, I believe is the thing, PLMS. If you look up that on in Consult on Google, you'll find a website that sells a board that will plug into the Nissan 14-pin console plug and then go to USB. In the USB, you can plug into a computer, and then you can read your engine parameters live. And one guy developed a cool app that integrates with that, and kind of has a nice visualization with gauges. So I'm going to show you how that works. So let's get my key. So this is a Surface tablet. It's a Surface Go 2, I guess. And so if I turn the key to on, essentially, and then we go, the app is called ECUTalk. 1.5 is the version currently available. We'll start that up. And it takes a second because this thing's not very powerful as far as the tablet goes. Okay, let me try it again. Yeah, it's really slow. Okay, yeah, so now it connects. It's kind of cool because it does also remember your settings, the COM port and stuff. So here's the connections. It's USB Type-C on this, and I got it routed through the glove box into the console down under there. Anyways, when it loads up, you get all these gauges basically, and it's all legit. Like, it all works really well. Like, if you see my throttle here, see, I'm just going from 0 to, I mean, the sweep is accurate. Everything works really, really swell. You can see my battery is just like 11.6. But yeah, this is a sweet app for just, I mean, that's a ridiculous number of gauges, and it's crazy. I made this little aluminum holder for this thing that's just stuck on there, but you know, I could do everything else with this too. You can navigate, I think it's got GPS. This has got everything inside, Bluetooth, so you know. But anyways, it's pretty rad, and you can data log with this software. There's other softwares. Scantech also makes a software that works with this and has a different visualization. The gauges are a little more, I don't know, trying to mimic something like these gauges. You know, basically, that's actually mimics these very close. But it just kind of is pretty cheesy. I prefer these. You can change these colors out to some degree as well, and you can pick which gauges you want to show. If you only want like 4 of them to show, you can just have 4 show. So it's pretty rad. I'll show you if I back out here. You can just uncheck any of these parameters, and it just won't show those anymore. I just basically put everything that I could show, and then I got the log checkbox on, so it will log every drive, so you can replay those, I believe. So it's pretty neat.